Hey everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. Welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons. And as I asked when we took a look at Cowboy Bebop, does anime count as Saturday morning cartoons? In my world it does, and it's my show. So there we go. What we have here is Wave 3 of Dragon Ball Evolve. Now don't look for Wave 1 and 2 on this channel. It doesn't exist. I don't have them. When they first came out, I wasn't real into them. I didn't think I was going to get them. And the main reason being is that basically what you see is what you get. There's no accessories, there's no extra hands, there's no extra faces, and there's no energy effects. But I did want something for Dragon Ball on my shelf. And I loved Dragon Ball Z. I really loved Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Super was good. Dragon Ball GT, quite frankly, I could do without. But I was thinking that while I wanted something for Dragon Ball on my shelf, I wasn't exactly sure what that something was. And I thought I was going to go for, what's the one line that's out right now, the $20 line? Dragon Ball All-Stars or Dragon Ball Stars or something like that. Dragon Stars, I think. But I finally settled on this line for two reasons. One, when I saw this wave, when I saw Wave 3, there were two reasons that I wanted to get this, and I'll explain what those are once we open them. And two, the more I thought about it, for as much as I really liked Dragon Ball Z, I mean, I really like Dragon Ball Z, and as much as I like Dragon Ball Super, it's not one of my top fandoms. And with the price of action figures going up, I decided that, you have to start to pick and choose what you're going to get. And these figures at Target and Toys R Us, yes, I said Toys R Us. These figures at Target and Toys R Us are $10 or less per figure. And that was perfect for me. They're a little smaller than some of the other ones that I get, but let's be honest, it's Dragon Ball. I probably wouldn't be mixing them in with too much of anything else anyway. And they don't have accessories or energy effects, but that's fine because I just wanted to have something to pose on my shelf. Just some sort of representation of Dragon Ball. Now, what we have is Ultra Instincts Goku, Super Saiyan Trunks, and Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Gogeta. This is all of Wave 3. And as you can see, they all come in a standard, very basic blister pack card back, and what you see is what you get. There's no accessories, as I said. There's no blast effects. The only exception for this wave, at least, is Trunks, who has his sword, and we'll take a look at that once we open him. But you can see it's a very thin card back, too. Okay? So we have some really bright colors, some eye-catching colors. We have the Energy Blast, really bright green, and then the portrait of the figure inside. On the back, we have an image of all of the figures in this wave, and depending on which figure you look at, determines which one is up front. As you can see, the figure that's in the pack is going to be the one that's in front of the lineup. And that's really about it. We have some legalese, we have the Dragon Ball symbol, we have Dragon Ball Evolve. So that's about it. We're not going to take too much time looking at the packaging because there's not much to the packaging, but let's get these open and let's take a look at Bandai, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Evolve, Ultra Instincts Goku, Super Saiyan Trunks, and Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Gogeta. Alright, the first one we're going to open up is Ultra Instincts Goku, and quite frankly, it's just because I don't want to say he's boring because it's Goku, but he's the least interesting one of the line. So let's just open him up and take a look at him. Okay, here he is, Goku, Ultra Instincts, out of his card back, and let's put the tape measure to him and we'll see how he measures up. And we see to the top of his head, he is 5 inches tall. To the top of his big do, he is just under 5.5 inches tall. Okay, looking at the articulation, Goku can kind of look up, sort of look down. He has a full 360 spin on the head, little bit of tilt, a pretty decent amount of tilt from side to side. His arms, you have to be careful because they will pop off the joint, as you can see. But his arms can come up to just past 90. They'll do a full 360 see that? See what I mean? They get caught in the butterfly joint, which he does have a butterfly joint, but they get caught in the butterfly joint and it wants to pop off. But it can do a full 360 spin. He has a bicep swivel, single jointed elbows that'll get a little bit past 90, and he has wrist pivot and rock in and out, and you can really see the trenching, really see the hinge of his wrist pivot right there. Now at the waist, he has some really good ab crunch that he can look forward, he can look way back, he gets some side to side going on, and he can turn at the ab crunch. He also has a waist twist that he can turn at the waist. This piece right here is not part of the legs or part of the bottom piece. This is a loose piece that just floats around the waist, so it doesn't really get in the way when you want to turn him at the waist. Okay, get your arms up out of the way. Leg will come up just under 90. They can go forward. Back, not so much. You can see the cut. You can see that he has a thigh swivel right there. And you can see the trenching for the thigh joints in there. Single jointed knees that are carved to bend back way far, but you can see it's a little ugly whenever you bend them like that. And his ankles will rock side to side. That's not a forward-facing pin. There's actually a rocker built into the ankles. It will go back a little bit. It will go forward a little bit. And part of the problem is the sculpt of the boot right here gets in the way, because you can pop that off and you can see that it is made to travel much more than it does. But it's just that the sculpt gets in the way. Now, the joints on Goku are very fluid and at the same time very loose. Like, they'll hold a pose, they'll hold a decent pose for a fairly long time, and they move very easily, but sometimes I feel like they move a little too easily, that when you're trying to do something, you'll inadvertently start moving something else. All in all, the articulation of the figure, despite a lot of this gapping that we have, the articulation of the figure I don't really have a problem with. It actually works really well. I got some really decent shots out of Goku. We'll have to wait and see for Trunks and Gogeta. But so far, I'm really happy with the articulation of this figure. Now, taking a look at the sculpt, this face portrait is quite obviously Goku. I mean, could it look any more Goku than what it already does, especially with this big mop of hair that he has going on up here. I like that the eyes are level, the eyes are even. I don't know if you can really see it on camera, but they do have those two black dots raised up in his brow that Goku definitely has his angry face on. The sculpt of his body is very clean, very smooth, very neat. You can see his abs, his chest muscles, his pecs. On the back, you can see the muscles rippling. This isn't the most detailed sculpt for a Dragon Ball figure, don't get me wrong, but keep in mind, this is a $10 figure, and this is looking really good. You see he has the musculature in the biceps as well. His fingers are curled into like a power position where he's gearing up for a Spirit Bomb or a Kamehameha, whatever. Like, it's a great pose possibilities with the hands with Goku. His gi is properly beat up. The ripped knee, the ripped thigh. You can see where the part that would have been over his torso is just shredded and hanging in tatters around this piece. And his boots. Is beautiful blue with the gold rope around the ankles. All in all, with it being the least interesting, I didn't say the most boring, I said the least interesting of the line, I think he has a really good look to him. Okay, it was a tough call as to which one we were going to open next, but I think we're going to go with Gogeta. Alright friends, here we go. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, or Super Saiyan Blue if you're nasty. Gogeta out of his packaging. Let's put the tape measure to him. And we see, first of all, he has a really loose leg, which we'll talk about in articulation. But we see that to the top of what should be his head, he only comes up to about 5 3/4 tall. But to the top of his big powered-up do, he's 6.5 inches tall. So from bottom of the foot to top of the hair, he's about the same size as Goku. However, when you put the two of them together, you can see that Gogeta's eye level is lower than Goku's. And at first I thought that was really odd, but then it dawned on me that I've never bothered to look up the stats online. Is Gogeta smaller than Kakarot? Does Vegeta bring him down in height, that he's not as tall as Kakarot, but he's not as short as Vegeta? That's interesting. I never bothered to look. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments below, because that's actually kind of funny. And here we go with the articulation that Gogeta can't really look up. He can look down. He would be able to do, well, he can do a full 360 as long as you lift his chin over the collar of his vest. And he has some pretty decent head tilt from side to side. Now, as far as the arms go, he can come up to about 90. This really gets in his way, which is why he can't do a full 90 degrees. Also, he doesn't have a butterfly joint like Kakarot did, like Goku did, because of the vest. Like, he has one, but it doesn't really function well. He can do a full 360 spin. He has the bicep swivel. He has the single jointed elbow, which puts him to about 90. He has the same swivel and hinge in and out hands that Goku had. Also, like Goku, he has some really decent ab crunch that he can go forward, he can go back, he can go side to side, and he gets some twist out of it, but he also has the waist twist here. And yes, this sash, much like the belt on Goku, is not an anchored piece. It does move with the character, so sometimes it might get in the way, but it's pretty good the way it is. And you can see, popping him off, it's just like a ball joint. This was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. I just got a little carried away with the ab crunch, just showing you how far forward he can go. His legs can come out to the side, just under 90, same as Goku. They can go forward, not as well as Goku can. They can go back, about what he could. Single jointed knee, doesn't get nearly the travel, but it's still pretty decent. No boot cut, but the ankles do swivel. And because of the sculpt of the ankle, his ankles can go back, his ankles can go forward, and he still has that side-to-side rocker like Goku had. Now, looking at the sculpt in the Paint app, I have to admit that this is one of the reasons I wanted to pick up this set. Yeah, Golden Frieza, and I think it was Wave 2. Was Golden Frieza in Wave 1 or Wave 2? Either way, Golden Frieza looked good, but this metallic blue for his powered-up hair, I really, really like that. This really drew me to this series, which is why I ended up picking it up. The Paint app on Gogeta in general, even though it's muted because of the grays, because of the blues, even like this yellow is muted, but the Paint app on Gogeta was something that really drew me to this line. Now, the only thing that's bothering me, and I don't know if it's showing up on camera, and I couldn't see it in the blister, I didn't see it until I got it out, he has a little bit of blue, that metallic blue on the tip of his nose. And I don't know if it's paint rub from somewhere or if you pop the head off, you can see that the majority of this is sculpted with that metallic blue paint. But it doesn't look like the faceplate should have been that way. But I'm thinking that when they sprayed his eyebrows on, they might have hit the nose, and I can't get it to scratch off. I might have to get some real fine brush and some flesh tone to try and blend it, because that is going to annoy me. Like I said, I don't know if you can actually see it on camera. There, I think you can. But other than that, everything about this, like even his eyes, that intense look in his eyes with the blue dots, the black outlining around the eyes, very Akira, very Dragon Ball. The whole thing just looks great. I love the look of this figure. Now, he does have a very loose left leg, right leg in the hip and the knee. And it didn't make it impossible to pose, but it did make it a little difficult. But I am willing to bet that that is just a flaw of this figure and not the line in general, because, hey, this happens on occasion. And of course, finally, that leaves us with my man, my hero, my champion, the son of the Prince of all Saiyans, Trunks. Alright, here he is, Trunks out of his packaging and putting the tape measure to him. We see that he also comes up to the top of what would be his head between, it looks like, 4 3/4 and 5 inches tall. So he also is shorter than Goku. To the top of his Super Saiyan hair, he's about 5 1/4. Trunks, though, I don't have a problem being shorter than Goku. Trunks always was a little shorter than the rest of them, and as you can see, like especially in the arms, even at Super Saiyan, he was still a little slimmer, a little more svelte, if you will, compared to the rest of them, even compared to Vegeta. It wasn't until he went like Super Trunks, Ascended Saiyan, that he really started to beef up a little bit. Now looking at the articulation for our boy Trunks here, he can't really look up. He can look down a little bit. He probably has the best tilt out of the batch, and he does do a full 360 spin. However, you do have to be careful with his head because the socket and ball that's used to hold him together, this socket is really shallow that, like, even, see what I mean? Even when I was trying to just get some poses out of him, his head kept popping off. Part of the problem, I think, is this scarf. That if you took the scarf off, it sits a little better and there's no resistance to the head. That it's still not on there the most solid, but it won't pop off like it does when this piece is on. But let's be honest, that just looks really cool. Now, as far as the arm articulation goes, he keeps popping out of socket that the arms don't go up very high. This is the best I could get out of them, just this under 90 degrees. He has the butterfly joints, that the butterfly joints on him, quite honestly, are really ugly and barely work the way they're supposed to. He gets a full 360 spin if you're delicate. He has a bicep swivel. He has single jointed elbows that come up to 90. He has wrist swivel and pivot, hinge in and out. Now, both of his hands, and I should wait to talk about this in the sculpt, but both of his hands are gripping hands for his sword, which we'll take a look at. However, if you have any of the other figures, you can just pop this out, and you can pop this on, which I pulled this off of Goku, and he has a power-up hand, and as a matter of fact, I even did that in one of the photos that I took of him. Now, he has the ab crunch, but he goes forward not as much as the rest. He can really crank back. He has a hard time pivoting, and that, once again, is because of the sculpt. Because he has this big sheath on back for his sword, that part of it is attached to the top of the torso, and part of it is attached to the bottom of the torso. So it's kind of fighting itself if you try and get a certain amount of twist out of it. Like, he can't really twist right that well. Left, he has more play. Right, not so much. You see how he just keeps falling apart. I have to be honest, Trunks was the main reason. This version of Future Trunks was the main reason I bought it. And unfortunately, he's also the most disappointing of the line so far. He has the waist twist, though, like all the other figures do, so you can get a twist out of him that way. His legs go forward. His legs go back way better than any of the other ones. He can come out to the side, almost to a full 90. He has a thigh swivel. Single jointed knee, with a little bit more better travel than Gogeta, but not as much as Goku. Ankle swivel, ankle rock back, ankle rock forward, and pivot side to side. We're just going to go into the sculpt right now and take a look at him. I thought he was the best looking one in the packaging, but once I got him out of the packaging, like, the eyes look great, don't get me wrong. I love the green for the pupils. The hair, they should have done something a little bit more brighter with the hair. They used a metallic yellow, it looks like, but it's more of a mustard than a bright, like, Super Saiyan yellow that I would be expecting. The problem with the sheath, you saw that during the articulation when we were trying to bend him, and his arms are just kind of a mess. Everything from the butterfly joint to the shoulder joint, and the scarf just keeps getting in the way. The legs are very dull because he just has straight slacks. And the boots look good. The Capsule Corp boots look pretty good. I really wanted this figure to be better. I really wanted to love this figure. But now I think Gogeta is the best one out of the line. And I mean, Trunks isn't bad, and I don't know if I'm just saying that because of how much I love, like, Trunks and Vegeta, but I don't know, like, they could have done a better job with this guy. Almost completely forgot to point out that he does have a decent paint of the Capsule Corp logo right there on his shoulder, just like on his jacket in the show. I just wish the shoulders looked better. Like, there's a lot to like about this figure, but there's also a lot that's frustrating about this figure. Unlike the others, though, Trunks does come with an accessory, and it is his big Horking sword, and I love the metallic silver they used for the blade and the crosspiece, and I like this wrap that they have, this green painted wrap they have for the handle, but you can see, even from the photos I was taking, the little bit of play that I had with him, the green is already starting to rub off the handle. Now, the hands, focus, the hands are very soft on him, so even though the handle is huge, it is very easy to get a grip, for Trunks to get a grip on his sword. And once he has it, he does have it. So that's good too, that he has a decent grip on it. And it is a very soft, pliable sword, but because it's so thick, it holds its shape better than you would expect it to. But it's also very light, so it doesn't weigh him down. You can see his wrist is real loose too. It's very light, so it doesn't weigh him down, that you should be able to get some extended poses out of him, but because the wrists don't pivot up and down, some of them may not quite look natural. Man, I know none of the movies are actually canon, and that's kind of what kills me about Trunks, because it doesn't make any sense at all, but I love I forget which movie it was, Warrior from the Past, Warrior from the Future, I can't remember, but basically the one with Tapion, where we see that Trunks gets his sword from Tapion. Like I said, it doesn't make any sense at all in the canon of the series, but I really like that movie. And I almost forgot that this big Horking sword, yes, it does fit very well into the sheath, like so. The sheath is actually very solid, so the sheath will protect the sword. Unlike a lot of action figure lines where the sheath can bend, and be weak too, the sheath is a solid plastic, so that while the sword is in there, it will protect it and won't allow it to bend and out of shape. Okay, size-wise, at the 5-inch mark, I don't have much to compare them to, but here they are next to Loyal Subjects, Best Action, Cowboy Bebop, Spike, and Vicious. Here they are next to McFarlane Toys, Avatar The Last Airbender, Zuko, and Sokka. Here they are next to Hasbro Marvel Legends, Captain Marvel, and Psylocke from the Nimrod 3-pack. And why not, here they are next to Jazzware's Wicked Cool Toys, Spartan Collection, Master Chief, and Noble 6. Okay, if you're a big super fan of Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, and you're used to things like the SH Figuarts line, or the Figurize, the model kits, or even the Dragon Stars line, this probably isn't going to be for you. If you're somebody that likes Dragon Ball and you want some sort of representation of them on your shelf, and you're already spending too much and you don't want to drop $20 a figure for something that isn't your primary fandom, these might be worth looking into. As long as you realize you're getting what you pay for. Yes, these are $10 figures. And for $10 figures, I think they're very reasonable for the price that you get. I like the articulation. I like the sculpt. For the most part, I like the paint apps. Trunks, unfortunately, was a huge disappointment for me, but Gogeta actually ended up being the surprise figure that I was like, holy cow, I'm really glad I got this line. Goku is Goku. I mean, Kakarot's always going to look the same. He has a little bit of a shine to his black hair for his Ultra Instincts, but for the most part, this could be Goku from pretty much any stage of Dragon Ball. Which also brings us to the point that I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball Evolve is just going to be made up of characters from Dragon Ball Super. If the line continues, if it does well, if it sells, who knows? Maybe we will start to get stuff from Dragon Ball Z. I don't know, but I'm kind of digging what I see, so much to the point that I probably am going to go back and pick up some of the figures, if not all of the figures from the previous waves, especially Broly, especially Golden Frieza. Because that is the one complaint that I have, that we got 3 heroes. We got Ultra Instincts Goku, we got Super Saiyan Trunks, and we got Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Gogeta. We didn't get a villain with this line. And in the previous lines, we've gotten Broly, and we've gotten Golden Frieza. I don't think we needed another Goku already, because there already is an Ultra Instincts Goku, and I believe it was the first line, the first wave, or maybe the second wave, with the pure silver hair. We could have waited on this one. However, I am happy with the figures for $10. If I would have spent more than $10, I might have had a different opinion on them. But if you're just a casual fan, or if you're just looking for something small to put on the shelf for Dragon Ball representation, this might be worth checking out. If you're a super fan, you're probably not going to like these guys. that's what I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this. This was something different. Even I wasn't sure if I was going to like these or not. I had watched other reviews, and even after seeing the other reviews, I was kind of like, this may or may not do it for me. But in the long run, in the end, I think it did. I think I'm going to enjoy this. I think I'm going to fill out this line. So thank you all for watching. Play well, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.